And now it's Deborah Kobylt Live.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for Deborah Kobylt Live. And we are joined by Jonathan Shugart, the founder of B Charitable. And I love this, Jonathan. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Deborah. Thanks for having me.
What's great about B Charitable is you make it easy for the rest of us to donate and set up a foundation, or you describe it, where you don't need a boatload of money necessarily to give. So could you tell us what is Be Charitable? And then we're going to get into a little bit of why did you do it?
That's a great little introduction. Yeah, but Be Charitable is a fintech platform that is changing the way that we think about charitable giving. And we're trying to make it easier than ever to impact the charitable causes that you're most passionate about. The way we do that is we allow you to set up your own donor advised fund. Think of a charitable savings account where you put your money into the donor advised fund as you choose. And then at a time that's convenient to both you and to the charities that you want to impact, then you distribute that money out to the charities.
How is this different than people who have their own foundation? We've looked into that and it sounded so complicated. I thought, gosh, I don't know. So please, in very basic terms for me, tell me the differences.
The two basic terms that I would use are that it's easier and it's cheaper.
How? Like there's no minimum, right? If you set this up.
That's right. That's correct. That's correct. There's no minimum. But first of all, you said it's difficult and complex to set up a private foundation, and it is. And that makes it expensive also. What we're doing, donor advised funds are housed inside of a public charity. So Be Charitable is the public charity. All the complexity that goes into setting up the charity, we did when we set up Be Charitable. What you were doing when you set up your own fund inside of Be Charitable is you're taking about 3 minutes, you're creating a login information, and then you're figuring out how do you want to make your contributions in. Do you want to do it through a credit card, then put in your credit card or debit card? If you want to do it through an ACH transfer, then you set up the ACH transfer. And then you start to decide how often you want to put money in, how much money you want to put in, and then who do you want to make grants out to? What public charities do you want to support? And then once all of that's set up, then everything else is automated. Our goal is for you to be able to do whatever you want to do with your charitable giving with 5 clicks or less.
Wow. Now, I don't have to pick anything that you would be giving to. I could pick whatever I want, right? But you said a public charity. So explain that.
So all charities that are recognized by the IRS are either going to be a public charity, meaning that most of their benefit goes out to the public, most of their funding comes in from the public, or they're a private foundation. Private foundation primarily has their funding come from one individual or a family, a close group. And there are more strict rules because it would be easier to manipulate a private foundation. There are more strict rules on what private foundations you can make grants to out of a donor advised fund.
When you say, what do you mean that there are, what you were just describing about what could happen?
Most charities that you think of that are actually, think of boots on the ground charities, ones that are actually doing the work are public charities. They're supported by a lot of individual donors who are giving a small portion of the big budget of the charity. And so most of those, there are over 1 million of those in the US. And every one of those is in our database. So if they are supported, if they are approved by the IRS as a public charity, then they're in our database. And with just a couple clicks, you can make grants out of your donor advised fund to any of those millions of charities.
That's incredible that you've done that. What about the private foundations? Do you have that available as well?
Well, a private foundation, in order to receive a grant from a donor advised fund, the private foundation has to be a private operating foundation.
Okay.
So if it is a private foundation, you can't find it on our platform, then there is an opportunity at the bottom to request that we recognize a charity that you can't find. So churches, a lot of religious organizations don't have to be qualified with the IRS. If they don't have to be qualified with the IRS, then we don't know they exist. If the IRS doesn't have them in their publication. And so we have a place where you can very easily request that we add another charity to our database. And we go through, we do our due diligence. And if they are qualified to receive contributions or grants from a donor advised fund, then we add them, and you can find them easily. Our goal is not to tell you who to give to. Our goal is to make it easier than ever for you to give.
I like that you said that. So talk to me about your background. Did you grow up in a family of giving? I mean, it seems to be sort of part of your DNA. Tell me about that.
I did. I grew up in a religious family in the South. And one thing that I knew was that every single penny or dime that I made, a portion of that was going either to my church or to help other individuals. I was taught growing up that what I receive is not necessarily all mine. That part of the reason I'm here is to love other people well and help other people do their job. We're here to be community. We're here to go through life together. It's in our DNA.
Wow.
And so that's part of what my parents instilled in me growing up. After school, I went to law school. I'm a tax attorney by education and practiced law for 5 years, almost 6 years. And some of the most rewarding work that I did was sitting down with wealthy individuals who either maybe just had a major windfall or maybe have been accumulating wealth over time and said, okay, we want to be charitable now. We want to be intentional with our charitable giving, and sitting with them and helping them either decide if it makes sense for them to create a private foundation like you were talking about, or to put them in a donor advised fund. The problem with both of those traditional tools, they're great tools. And it's a great opportunity to help people think intentionally about who they want to help in their time. But they're both expensive. And so what we've done is we're using fintech platform and using modern technology to bring that donor advised fund tool to the masses.
Talk to me a little bit about you and your family, though. You have kids now, right? And you actually get together with them and you ask each one of them where they'd like to donate, right? I think that's really great. You've started them out young the way you did. And I want people to hear this because I feel like the world is just getting a little so crazy and nobody's just sitting down and carefully thinking about what matters and where they want to give. Of course, you want the tax deduction. I get it. Right. But also got to put a little thought into it. And when you start them young, you know, I'm going to guess here that it continues, right?
We hope so. That's the plan. That's where our heart is. And so I would leave those conversations with these wealthy donors and say, and just see them. There's a joy on their face when they determine who they want to help and how they want to help them, that you don't see when they have a major sports win, or that you don't see when they have a major windfall in business. It's a different kind of joy that you see when they're saying, okay, I'm going to be intentional helping other people. And I remember leaving those conversations saying, man, if we could have this conversation at every kitchen table in the country, we're going to change our culture. We're going to change the way that people love each other, and we're going to change the way people think about themselves. And so that was my shower thoughts. I'm a big shower thinker. And so those were my shower thoughts. Is how can we bring this to everybody else? And as soon as we got the platform built, the first place I went was to my kitchen table to have that conversation that I've been picturing in my mind with my family. I'm married and I have an 8-year-old and 6-year-old little girls and a 3-year-old little boy. And so the first question is, who do we want to help in 2021? How do we want to be charitable? My 8-year-old daughter has one of the kindest hearts you've ever seen. And she just has a huge heart for homeless people and for people who don't have what she thinks they should have. And so the first thing that she said was, I want to help people homeless people. And I said, okay, how do you want to help homeless people? She said, well, what I really want to help is people who don't know where their meals, who don't know if they're going to be able to eat dinner tonight. And I said, okay, well, how do we want to do that? And she said, well, I really want to help kids who don't know where their meals. So we keep funneling it down. So then we said, okay, great. We'll support our local food bank, the Central Alabama Food Bank has a program that for every $1 that you donate, you can support, help feed up to 4 children who don't know where the next meal is going to come from. And so we said, okay, as a family, we are going to commit to sponsoring an X number of children.
Now, how about your 8-year-old?
Yep.
You say you went to...
Yep. So went to 8-year-old, then we went to the 6-year-old, and then we went down to the 3-year-old. The 6-year-old has said since she was able to talk that she wants to be a nurse and she wants to help children. And so we said, okay, who do you want to help? Not surprisingly, she said, I want to help the kids at Children's Hospital. And we said, how do you want to help them? And she said, I want to help their mommy and daddies not be so sad. And so there's a program through the foundation, the Children's Hospital Foundation, that helps support the families of sick children. So we committed we're going to work with that program and donate to that program. The 3-year-old doesn't know what's going on, right? He's 3, but we still want to instill that at a young age.
He's 3, he listens, and he has feelings, and he has an instinct of what he would like to do for his 3-year-old brain. And he's been taught well and listening. Now, I know we talked about the 8-year-old. I just want to give fair time to the 6-year-olds because I have 3 kids. So the 6-year-old, what was her interest?
So her interest was the Children's Hospital, right?
The 6-year-old, okay.
The 6-year-old. The 8-year-old was the food bank.
And the 3-year-old?
And then the 3-year-old, he doesn't really know what's going on with this.
He didn't. Okay. Okay.
But he always either has a baseball in his hand, or he's got a tool set, a fake tool set, and he's always walking around with tools or a baseball or something like that.
I thought maybe he had an idea and he said, "What about helping X?" But it's ruminating in there. You're doing a great job. It's ruminating. So you were an attorney. Right. Are you still practicing full time, or did you devote all of your time now to Be Charitable?
I am devoting all time to Be Charitable now.
So how many clients do you have who are part of Be Charitable who now have a donor advised fund under Be Charitable?
Well, we launched our public launch in the middle of June, and we are between 200 and 300 active users now. So
wow.
We're growing.
That's pretty incredible. Now, what are the benefits for Be Charitable since they are under your umbrella, and how are you making money from this?
That's a great question. So donor advised funds traditionally, it's a tool that's been available for a long time, but it traditionally has a high entry barrier, so high cost for your initial contribution. Also has high maintenance fees on a monthly or annual basis. And so in order to bring this to everyone who wants to use it, we said we've got to figure out a way to eliminate the high entry barrier and eliminate the monthly fees. And so the way that we make money is we ask for tips initially. So whenever you make a contribution to your fund, we ask for a tip. You can choose to tip us, you can choose not to. But we're banking on the fact that people who are choosing to be intentional with their charitable giving will also be generous with us too. And so we ask for tips on the front end. And then once your money is in your fund, then you can choose either to not invest it at all, or you can choose to invest it in one of 3 investment opportunities. Think of kind of like your 401k. So we have a conservative, a moderate, and then an aggressive investment opportunities. The money in there, if you choose to invest it, grows tax-free. And if it grows, then that growth that's inside your fund, 75% goes back into your fund, and 25% of the growth comes out to the Be Charitable operating fund.
And if at any time I want to take it out, is there any problem with that? Is it very difficult to sort of fold it, if you will?
Well, you can't take it out yourself.
I knew that. Right. You just
the only place that it can go, once it's in your charitable fund, the only place that it can go is out to charities. But you can you can do it immediately.
Right. And you can do it immediately. You can choose not to continue. There's no timetable. It's not like you have to fund it again next year, because sometimes that's a difficult part. You always have to be funding this. If you end up at a zero balance and you choose, well, maybe I won't continue, that's okay, right?
That's fine. That's you. That's your choice. Or it might just be the hand that you're dealt for a period of time.
Right.
But with no monthly fees, then there's no penalty if you choose not to fund it for a little while.
Right. I get it. Your goal is pure, is to really be charitable with other people. We need this. We really, really do. What would you like to say to our audience to get them excited and motivated? Because if they're not already, just hearing what you've done, even with your own family.
Well, I think there's some other fun features that we have that we're working on. We are just the end of last week, we started our beta test for our app. So you don't just, hopefully within about 2 or 3 weeks, you won't just access us through the website, but you can actually find us in the App Store, on iTunes, on Google Play. So that's really exciting. That's coming down. Another great feature that we have is what we call charitable crowdfunding. So think of your traditional crowdfunding avenues, but think of it coming in to your donor advised fund. And so what you're doing, you're not just taking your money that you can contribute to your fund, but you're using your social influence to encourage others around you to rally around those same topics and the same charitable things that you love. So instead of saying, hey, this year I'm going to raise $1,000 or $10,000 for X charities, you can say, this year I'm going to reach out to my social influence and I'm going to match however much I'm wanting to put in. I will match that. And so you quickly turn your $1,000 into $2,000. You can quickly turn your $10,000 into $20,000. We've seen people who only match about a quarter, and so they're able to turn 1 into 4. And so another tool is for you to be able to use your social influence, either through easily sharing through social media, through QR codes. We had our neighborhood had a lemonade stand a few weeks ago where we gave away free lemonade. We squeezed 18 pounds of lemons. And I'm not going to tell you how much sugar we put in there because you don't want to see all of that. But
come on, you need it. You need all that sugar in the lemonade.
Absolutely,
but go ahead.
You do. But we just threw a QR code for our crowdfunding campaign on these bottles of lemonade, and we were just handing away free lemonade and raising support for the charities that our little group of friends said that we wanted to support as a group.
Wow, I want to come move to your neighborhood. That sounds like you guys are doing some pretty great stuff. Honestly, I'm not kidding.
Come to Alabama.
I'm thinking about it. I mean, you'll feed us well too. I believe it. Yeah, this is fantastic. I personally am going to get in touch with you about this as well. So absolutely. I see nothing but an upside here for people who want to give and don't necessarily want to form their own foundation, which, as we talked about, can be a little, time consuming and expensive. I love that you thought of this. I don't know of anything like this out there. So be charitable, people.
Correct.
Be charitable. And that's a B.
The letter B, and then charitable.org.
BeCharitable.org. Any parting words that you want our people to know, how they can get in touch with you, how they can find you, all that?
Yeah. So you can find us on our website, the letter B, the word charitable.org, like we just said. My email address is Jonathan, Jonathan, at bcharitable.org. Would love to hear from you. We are still young. I said we've been live for less than 2 months. I feel like we've got a great platform. I feel like there are great opportunities for it to get better. And I've been looking at it every day for 8 months now as we've been building it. So fresh eyes on it. We'd love to hear your feedback on how we can make this better. We're in the process of utilizing a tool that allow us to take in appreciated assets. So you can donate appreciated assets. We liquidate it, and that money goes straight into your fund. Same thing with crypto. We're trying to create the easiest tool for charitable giving. And so we'd love your feedback, good, bad, or indifferent, on how we're doing and how we can do it better.
That's fantastic. Do you also have an Instagram page? I know I always write people on their Instagram. Honestly, they could be like famous people, and they'll write back in a minute. I'm thinking, wow, this is great.
Absolutely.
What's your tag?
All social is Let's Be Charitable. So let's, LATS, the letter B, charitable.
Yeah.
So
all right, everybody.
Follow us.
Please get in touch with Jonathan Shugart. Please, at B Charitable. And again, Let's Be Charitable are his social handles. And let's do it together. Let's all of us do it together. I want to sort of get everybody out there. It could be a small amount, which is what I like about this. or it could be a larger amount, whatever you're comfortable giving. And you've sort of taken a lot of the hard work out of it because you've got all those charities that you've listed that are public charities, which is incredible. I see this as a real a growth for the future for people giving. So thank you for doing this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deborah. I've really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you for having me.
I have too. And please stay in touch with us. I want to know how it goes. I'm hoping that some of our listeners and viewers will contact you and say, hey, I'd like to set this up too. So please do that, everyone. I'm going to encourage you on my social media. So Jonathan Shugart, did I say that right?
You got it. That's
okay.
It. Thank you so much.
Be charitable. And let's all be charitable, everybody. There's a lot happening in the world, and we just need to slow it down a little bit and be charitable to one another, regardless of the amount of money. So thanks all of you for tuning in to Deborah Kobylt Live, and let's be charitable. You can find my show on YouTube and Facebook. We put it out on IGTV, and then in the audio version on all audio podcast platforms, primarily iHeartRadio, Apple, and everywhere else that you get your podcast. So thanks for joining us for Deborah Kobylt Live, and let's be charitable. Bye-bye.